absolutely love fishing for smallmouth bass. They're fun, they're aggressive, and almost anybody can catch them. That's what we're on the hunt for this week at Hawk Lake Lodge. Massive smallmouth bass. We're gonna have a great time.
This big fish adventure starts right now on the new Fly Fisher.
Ooh, that's a nice sized fish.
I will catch these all day.
That is what you're in for on this episode.
The new Fly Fisher is supported by Hawk Lake Lodge, Orvis Fly Fishing, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,
This week, Jenna McEwen and I are guests of Ted Putnam, the owner and operator of Hawk Lake Lodge. Located only a 40-minute drive from Kenora, Ontario, this luxury fishing lodge is the perfect drive-to location for anglers on the hunt for trophy-sized smallmouth bass. Not only does Hawk Lake Lodge have an incredible smallmouth bass and walleye fishery thanks to their strict catch and release policy, but its remote yet accessible location allows guests to fully experience the beauty of Northern Ontario in world-class accommodations. With all this in mind, Jenna and I were eager to get out on the water and decide to wake up early and head out at first light. We pulled into this little bay this morning, and you know, it takes a little bit of time to figure things out as to what's going on each individual day. And when we pulled in, we could see that there were some mayflies on the water, some spinners that were still actively doing their thing, and a lot of husks. So, you know what, I'm going to go subsurface with a streamer pattern simply because we need to cover the water column. Jenna's gonna fish a topwater that emulates a mayfly or a dragonfly, which we've seen a lot of. And we're gonna figure out this puzzle at some point this morning. Despite having both fished this lake before, it took Jenna and I some time to locate active fish. This most likely due to bad weather and high temperatures experienced in the area before we arrived. However, our patience was well rewarded.
Oh, there's a fish. Nice. Okay, let's see if I can. That was not far from your fly at all. We're casting parallel, essentially. Okay, let's see. I haven't seen this guy yet, and I've got a black popper on. And I've been kind of switching, oh, just a little guy, but I've been switching my retrieve up because I wasn't sure what they'd be taking. All right, all right, all right. All right. Fly pops right out. Cute little guy. Let's get him back in the water. And oh, oh, ready to go. Awesome.
Fish.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a small bass, but it's a good opportunity to speak to the fact that when you're fishing poppers, you have to have a very different hook set than you would if you're fishing a streamer or a subsurface fly. The natural instinct as soon as that fish takes the popper is to set the hook. But if you can count one in your head or one Mississippi in your head and then let them have it, your hookup ratio is going to go up big time. What you need to do is allow that fish to eat and then actually turn away from you before you set the hook. If you hit them right away, you've got a major chance of pulling that hook right out of the fish's mouth. But if you count one Mississippi or a 1-2, let that fish turn, then hit them, you're gonna hook up a lot more fish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, After a quick nap and delicious dinner, Jenna took the evening to head out on the back lake with guide Liam Barkley, in hopes of hooking into another big smallie before nightfall.
So we're on Patty Lake. It's a smaller portage lake that we can access from Hawk Lake. We're out here because the main lake, the smallmouth, have been found in have been pushed into deeper water, so they've been a little bit harder to access. And with this lake is a smaller, shallower lake with a bit more stained water, so we can usually find them up in shallower water. We'll be looking for them to be chasing bait balls in some of these back bays.
Due to the hotter weather conditions during the day, it can take some trial and error to find out where in the water column the fish are suspended. Luckily, Liam and Jenna came prepared for these mid-summer patterns.
So Liam, can you tell me a little bit about what the bass are doing right now and what that means for us as anglers? Because I know that they're past their post-spawn, they're more into their summer tendencies and it's been really hot, but what exactly does that mean for the fish and how we approach fishing for them?
Midsummer, it's a little bit harder to find them because they're a little bit more transient. They're looking for comfortable water temperatures and or kind of following their bait around. But during the post-spawn, they try and get put on as much weight as they can. So then they'll be kind of close to where their spawning sites are, so they're kind of easy to find from structure. Whereas now, they're more in their summertime mode where they've grouped up and kind of gone back to their schooling tendencies and started chasing these schools of bait fish like cisco and perch. So we found that, especially during the summer, like the dog days, like it's been over 30 the last 2 weeks, that like really pumped up the water temperature, which would push the bait, the cooler water, like a thermocline, down deeper, which would in turn bring the smallmouth down deeper during the day, which kind of makes them more harder to access, whereas they'll come up as the water temperature cools in the night and into the morning.
So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and we haven't seen really any action at all, nothing. And something's flipped. We've seen a whole bunch of fish come up and break the surface. I've tossed a streamer. I'm using a Scotty McFly, and I'm actually going to have Liam toss a popper in with a floating line, see what they're gonna take, because we just watched a bass come up and crush a bug off the surface. So we might have some luck with top water as well if they're coming up for that. So we're gonna both flick a fly in the water and see if we can get them to take. There's a fish, got him, yes. Woo! That was freaking awesome. Okay, this fish is fighting well too. This is probably some of my favorite fishing to do, is when you see them rising at this time of day, you can try and match what they're eating and go after them. It's so exciting being able to whip around the lake and chase them. I switched my fly and this one has more flash to it.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Oh my gosh, okay. Ready? Come here, buddy.
Nice.
That is a beefy fish. Woo! Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful fish. That's awesome. Thanks, Liam.
Absolutely. Right on.
After a slow start to our trip the previous day, Jenna and I were eager to hit the water once more in hopes of finding the truly epic smallmouth bass that Hawk Lake Lodge is known for. There's no doubt that post-frontal smallmouth bass can be downright grumpy. They can be your absolute nemesis when you're on the water. So what do you do to entice a strike from these downright grumpy fish? Well, what I like to do is, number one, slow things down big time. No matter what fly you decide to throw, slow it down. They're gonna be grumpy, they're gonna be sulky, they're not gonna be aggressive, basically. So what you wanna do is be as slow as possible. Now, what I like to do is actually throw a double woolly bugger rig. So on my point fly, the fly that's tied directly to my tippet, I generally like something that's quite large and quite, dramatic. So this is a big black cone-headed woolly bugger. And then what I like to do is attach a smaller, either lightly weighted or non-weighted woolly bugger as a trailer, basically. So what I do is I take my tippet, this is 8-pound tippet, and I tie it right to the bend of the hook. So just use a improved clinch knot, tie it to the hook, and then, this is probably 20 inches of tippet, and then tie your trailer fly or your trailer woolly bugger to that. Now, the key to this rig is the presentation. So that's your rig, basically. So you've got an attractor fly, and you've got one that's small enough morsel that they don't have to work to eat it. They can just suck it up and eat it. So in presentation, you make your cast out, okay? This is a sink tip line. Let your cast out, let it sink. Now, remember, these are post-frontal grumpy fish, so your retrieve should be super slow. So I'm doing what we affectionately call the Brian Chan or Phil Rowley chironomid crawl with my hand, where you literally just twist the line in slowly, and it literally crawls those woolly buggers along the bottom so they look like leeches or crayfish or whatever these fish are keyed into. Post-frontal fish are grumpy. Slow your presentation down and give the double woolly bugger rig a try. You'll be sure to have great success. Fish.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
So, good smallie. Oh, there's followers, Jenna, there's followers. Look,
Okay.
3 of them.
Okay, hold on. Oh,
Switch your rig,
shoot,
switch
it's
your
okay,
rig.
I have another fish.
You got one?
Oh, no, it's gone. Okay,
So-
switch.
So there, I just saw a bass jump out of the water to try to eat that dragonfly. This is super cool. Switch up, Jenna.
Okay.
So we just talked about adjusting your rig. Oh my gosh, these things are so strong. Adjusting your rig based on the conditions. I switched to a double woolly bugger rig, came in near this beaver house, and we got a giant on here, and it's got followers with it. I actually thought I hooked a log, but it's not. It's a good smallie.
Oh, wow.
But it took the top fly. It took the attractor fly, exactly what it's supposed to do. Whoa. Supposed to do. This is fun. I've got 2 fish on. Can you believe
What?
it?
No.
Another fish took the bottom fly. Yeah, I got 2 fish. And there's followers with it. All right, so I'm gonna get the net out. I'm gonna try to net both of these fish at once.
Need a hand?
Oh, I lost the big one.
Oh.
But that's okay. Got a little one. Never in my career have I ever had 2 fish on one rig. What a thrill. So fun. Unbutton it. And let it go. Now, I gotta say that was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced. 2 smallmouth bass on a fly rig. But what I learned from that is that when you're approaching a piece of structure like a beaver house like we have here, which is absolutely giant, don't just go right to the structure and fish it. Work your way in and fish the entire area. If you sneak up on this once you've caught the fish and actually look subsurface and see what's going on, that beaver house extends probably 100 yards out from the actual hut. They've got all kinds of food source, they've got all kinds of access points to get into the house, and that is perfect habitat for both northern pike and, of course, these big smallmouth bass.
Equipment used fishing for smallmouth bass at Hawk Lake Lodge is as follows. 9-foot 5 and 6 weight rods matched with mid-arbor reels and 5 and 6 weight floating lines were the key. Bring sink tips and long leaders as the water is super clear here at Hawk Lake Lodge, and sometimes the bass are a little spooky. Some of the flies that were successful in taking smallmouth bass at Hawk Lake Lodge are as follows. Sneaky Pete's, black and chartreuse concave poppers, olive and black woolly buggers, crayfish patterns, streamers, and of course, a white Murdich minnow. After dinner, while I went spin fishing for walleye with Ted, Jenna decided to head out onto the back lake to try to get into some more bass. Her guide this evening is Pat Vella, both a conventional angler and fly angler. Pat's knowledge of the lake and the feeding patterns of smallmouth bass this time of year is great knowledge for a novice like Jenna.
It seems to be that the bass are pushing the bait fish up onto the surface. The color of those bait fish seem to be kind of like a silver, green, white mix. I'm using a popper, like a green and silver popper. So if you throw on like a 1.5, 2 inch little streamer, the same color, it should produce. We're just gonna get them to chase and it should be some fun.
That's a fish. I was just about to say we've seen a few rises. I tied on a fly that Pat suggested. I am so excited. That was pretty much instantaneous after I flicked my fly out on the water. I haven't seen, oh my gosh, I haven't seen anything yet, but this is fighting like a very good fish. And I'm gonna, haven't got it. Oh, this looks, oh shoot, this is a nice fish. This is a very nice fish. It is 8 o'clock, the sun is setting, it's cooled off. Oh, a little bit smaller than I thought, but oh, nice and fat. Ready, and, oh, not quite, come on, come on, come on. And, oh, woo-hoo-hoo. Okay, thank you for netting that. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna toss my sunglasses here and get my hands wet. So, oh, looks like he spit out my fly. That's handy. Something nice about these barbless hooks. So when grabbing a bass, I don't want to grab it by the lip really, because a lot of these fish have never felt gravity before. It can do a lot of damage to their jaw, to their spinal cord. So what I like to do is grab it under the belly like this and then get my thumb in there. Absolutely gorgeous smallmouth bass here at Hawk Lake Lodge. Yes! Oh my gosh, that bass leapt full body out of the water. These are really aggressive fish. Oh my goodness. That was just so wicked. Oh, I love bass fishing. This is awesome. And Hawk Lake Lodge fish are big and they're aggressive and they always put up a good fight no matter what the size. Oh my gosh. And I'm using a top water, a popper. Oh, what a good fighter. Okay, buddy. And it is black and green. That's one that Pat suggested. There we go. Holy cow, that's a nice fish. Thank you so much for netting that for me. And I'm going to, oh, look at that. He coughed right out. So easy. Okay, I'm gonna go wet my hands and let's see. I'm gonna bring myself up. This fish is so big. I wanna make sure I support the belly and wow, this is a beautiful smallmouth bass.
I think one of the things that makes Hawk Lake Lodge so special is that you get to focus on being here with your friends and family. We take care of everything for you. There's no chores to be done. You go out, you have a fun day fishing, being with each other in the boat, and you come back and it's an enjoyable dinner and relaxing, and you don't have any worries here. There's no stresses. So we like Hawk Lake Lodge to be a place where people feel comfortable just relaxing. So we have a spot where there's a hammock where you can curl up with a book that's by the water. There's also hanging out by the fireplace in the evening with a good book, or just checking up on the news from the day on the Wi-Fi. We also have something that a lot of families enjoy is the hot tubs. We have 3 hot tubs that are very popular to use, and particularly when we have families, they love to run into the lake, jump into the lake, and then jump into the hot tub back and forth, and that's always a good time for all.
This afternoon, Jenna and I decided to head out onto one of the 17 private back lakes that are only accessible to guests of Hawk Lake Lodge. Known as Patty Lake, this lake is only a quick walk through the woods and is a favorite of many guests due to its high volume of large bass.
Fish. It's a little guy, I think. Yeah. So we're in this really unassuming spot for smallmouth. I would not expect smallmouth to be here, but we're exploring this back lake at Hawk Lake Lodge, and we came up to the top end of the lake, which looks super pikey to me, and there's been smallmouth boiling and busting all over the place. So threw some poppers on and see what we can come up with. Now I'll throw that in with a big fish.
Nice quick release.
After another epic day of fishing for smallmouth, we decide to take the rest of the evening to spend time with our new friends here at the lodge and do some evening fishing for walleye. The perfect end to the day. Well, it's our final day fishing at Hawk Lake Lodge, and while Ted and I are off exploring brand new potential bass lakes, Jenna has the distinct pleasure of fishing with good friend and Hawk Lake Lodge guide staple, Jones LeBeau.
So we're in Picnic Bay right now, and we're on a kind of a gentle taper of the rocks, and we're gonna hope to get a bass to come up and eat on the surface just off that drop. And we got a little bit of break in the clouds, so we're using not too bright, but not too natural either. You're kind of in between and playing that popper kind of gentle for the start. If we find that they're eating and that they're hitting hard, then we're gonna switch to something maybe a little bit bigger. And if they're coming up to it, nosing up to it, and they're turning away, then we're gonna go to something a little more gentle, a little more natural, a little slower presentation, right? So we're just kind of watching for the fish right now and judging off how they react to our popper.
Fish. Oh, it's just a little guy, but man, are they aggressive. Okay. It's fighting. It's fighting really well, but man, these jumps. This is a very aggressive. Oh, these fish fight so well. I love smallmouth bass on a fly rod. Okay, up, and over. You know what? That's bigger fish than I thought it was. That's a decent fish.
Beautiful colors.
Thanks there, Jones.
Yep, no problem. Perfect hook set. Beautiful bass. All right.
Fish. There we go. Let's see here. And I don't know. There's a whole bunch of boulders under here. This
We're
feels
okay
like
depth-wise for the boat.
Let's see here. And I have a really small streamer on. I think it's like, what, 1.5 inches?
Yeah.
It's a nice little fish. Here we go. Bring him up for you. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, lots of boulders in here. And it's cool this evening. And fish seem to be hitting on streamers. Really awesome to find a nice fish. I've had a great week here fishing with Mark at Hawk Lake Lodge. It's so much fun hunting for those massive smallmouth bass. If you'd like to learn more about Hawk Lake Lodge or our show, visit us on the web at www.thenewflyfisher.com. From all of us here at The New Fly Fisher, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
The New Fly Fisher is supported by Hawk Lake Lodge, Orvis Fly Fishing, Scientific Anglers, Trout Unlimited, WeatherTech Canada,